All right. You know, I just had a thought. Sometimes that happens. And I realized that every guest character in this game was literally them just throwing crap at a wall and seeing if it stuck. No, they didn't even put any thought into it. Right? No cohesion between guest characters or anything like that. They're just like, nah. What can we pimp out this week? Warner Bros? Anyway, now I've been seeing a lot of comments like this, and I had the same comment or thought process myself, and that Conan is giving off major Tusk vibes. You're going to see gameplay obviously here of the Killer Instinct, the newer version of Tusk, and then we'll see some Killer Instinct 2 gameplay from back in the yesteryear. So the problem, right? Two problems. Firstly, obviously, a lot of barbarian type characters that have ever been made, including, if you will, going all the way back to that one-on-one fighting game called literally Barbarian, right? Where you can walk out and you can take off their head in a single slice, stuff like that. All would have been inspiration, and any sort of like barbarian type archetype would have been all inspiration from Conan. Now that doesn't mean to say that you're going to get people that are going to go, well, you know, then it's fine. Like they're finally putting in proper in a game, and it's all going to be gravy, baby. You know, it's all going to be super duper. No, it's not, because it looks like garbage. If you compare the animations of what we're seeing here to what you're seeing here with Killer Instinct, right, it is night and day, right? Not to mention the speed and the fluidity of Tusk, right? And the reason why I had both the characters showing on screen for Killer Instinct is because obviously the Killer Instinct 2013 or whatever version, obviously like there's like his, you know, like an updated appearance, and then we've got his classic outfit as well. But it's still in the same position, holding the sword in the center, which is the same way that Conan is doing it. But you can see the fluidity difference between Killer Instinct and, of course, what we have here with Conan, the stiff Barian. I mean, like, it just looks awful, right? And it doesn't just look awful, it doesn't even look like it just fits. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is the problem with NetherRealm and the animation team, right? In fact, just looking at it, it almost looks like they've gone, you know what? We got peak animation in Killer Instinct 2. Yeah, maybe we'll copy that, right? And you could forgive them for having, you know, stiffish animation back then because they weren't doing any motion capture. They were literally like, you know, doing the models either. I can't remember, were these stop motion models? I can't remember. Anyway, you know, like stop motion, like Goro and shit like that. So, you can clearly see, right, obviously the reference. And like I said, people will be like, well, Conan, you know, they're ripping off Conan. And that's true. Like I said, there's a lot of inspiration there, but just because you finally have the ability to put Conan in a fighting game doesn't mean to say you're going to do it correct. It doesn't mean to say it's going to fit with the rest of the game, right? Not to mention the simple fact is the previous video that they absolutely are hypocrites, right? That they're willing and are completely okay with a man, right, in He-Man panties running around, right, and not okay with, you know, the chicks looking hot, right? My God, I even feel like, you know, there's even interaction in these old games as well, you know, and we just don't get that really anymore, right? In fighting games in general, particularly like for something like Mortal Kombat, I don't really care for interactables, unless it was like interactable into like a stage fatality or something like that, right? That's the only time I care for that. I don't care about throwing stuff or anything like that. It just seems stupid and childish. When you're literally competing to fight against each other for the fate of the world, I'm not throwing a dish or an old lady at someone. Right? Like, it just seems stupid. But, you know, this is what NetherRealm's all about. They're just stupid. They don't respect the franchise or anything like that. So, obviously too, you know, I know people, oh my god, Conan looks so much more fluid than Killer Instinct 2. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Like, most of us have eyes. We can see that. But comparing it to Tusk, like in the Killer Instinct from like the new version of the game, boy oh boy, it is a massive, massive difference. Like a massive difference, right, that you can see. And it's crazy. Look how good the character looks. Look how good Tusk looks in both versions, right? It looks amazing. Nobody asked for Conan except for lamb chops, right? Or as what was it? One of the comments I read, it was like for like 60-year-old men, you know, retired 60-year-old dudes, you know. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Conan as a character. He's a great character. He's great movies, right? And as somebody I think left in a comment yesterday or the day before, you know, if they ever put Red Sonja in Mortal Kombat, she'd be covered up, right? She'd be covered up. They do something to make sure she's either covered up or made to look unsexy because they just simply can't handle it. The gaming developer that literally forced, you know, the introduction of an R rating type system or a mature rating type system with the creation of Mortal Kombat is now literally bending the knee, you know, and handing it all over, right? And this is how broken people are. I see people defending Conan. I see them defending the stiff animations and stuff. Oh, this is the way NetherRealm's been. Yeah, that's why NetherRealm's shit, right? If you go back, somebody did a comparison video on X yesterday. It was actually all the Liu Kangs from MK9, 10, 11, and 1, right? MK9 is the most fluid, and I've said this before. The reason for that is that because it feels like there's weight, it feels like there's good follow through with your character. Like your character, when they commit to an attack, is fully committed, right? You don't get that feeling no more. Like everything is just, it's like, look, like it feels like we're missing frames to smooth this shit out, right? It's like on TVs, you know, when you watch a movie and then you put on that smooth motion or tech where it literally makes it feel like it's almost lifelike, right? Because it's basically like, you know, smoothing all the animation and it's very uncanny. Like it's really, really uncanny feeling, right? But I don't know, man. I mean, you know, like NetherRealm really have just lost their way, you know, and this character's coming out. When's it coming out? Next month, right? So we then have to, then there'll be one more guest character, right? Which will be the T1000. And after that, they're going to have to say something. Because I reckon that's the reason why they're not saying shit about Combat Pack 3. Because it's probably been shit canned. But they're waiting it out, because if they go, oh, you know, we're cutting support now, the game will just nosedive, right? People, especially people that like to play online fighting games, they're going to move to a community where they can actually fight online with a fairly substantial community size, you know, and it feels like it's, you know, the game's sort of still getting good support, or the game has been left in a position that is still able to be enjoyed years later without any form of update or whatnot, because the game has been essentially left in a fantastic spot. We don't have that with MK1, right? This game has barely lasted a year, right? And it's just not, I see people on Twitter, right? These people sitting there going, oh, I reckon this is the way we save Mortal Kombat. Yeah, we you know, maybe we should do this, or maybe change how this character's move works. Shut the fuck up, no one gives a shit about some dumbass character's move. You really think that the entire game is being held back because of a couple of frames on a fucking move? Are you stupid? No, the entire game is shit. From the ground up, except for the stages and maybe some of the character designs. The entire game is shit. There is no heart in Mortal Kombat anymore. At some point, Kano literally ripped the heart out and never gave it back. Okay? So it's gonna be really like it's gonna be really interesting because they are just burning through their goodwill at an alarming rate. We all know like that the writing's on the wall because they haven't announced anything. Hey, listen, the Game Awards are coming up. Maybe they're gonna surprise us all and say Combat Pack 3's coming. They're going to walk out on stage and pull his dick out and go, ah, right? Maybe. I doubt it though. I very much doubt it. Okay. But the reality is though, is that nobody is answering any of the questions. We're not getting any answers whatsoever. And that's usually pretty telling. Anyway guys, catch you next time.